Exclusive contract with Feilu Novel Network novel. Crossing the Heavens. I practiced the 5 poisons divine skill in reality. Su Dong accidentally acquired the ability to cross different realms. I originally planned to become a master in 2 realms and reach the pinnacle of my life, until that day when I saw a person jumping 10 zhang on the beam of a house. Su Dong realized that this was a world with martial arts skills. Su Dong began to pursue cultivation and eventually obtained the 5 poisons divine skill of the 5 poisons sect by chance. The cultivation of the 5 poisons divine skill is difficult and requires a large amount of highly toxic resources. Resources that are difficult for others to collect can be obtained online by oneself. From then on, Su Dong obtained martial arts in a different world and returned to reality for cultivation. With convenient logistics and cheap resources, he embarked on a prosperous path. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Differences between reality and aliens. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In Tianan City, rent out a house. Su Dong opened his eyes. This is my 3rd time back. It's been 6 months since my 2nd time back, right? Su Dong glanced at the clock in front of him. Sure enough, according to the proportion of the other world, I only left for 10 minutes. It seems that the last time and this time both have the same 10 minutes duration. That is to say, no matter how long it takes in a different world, there are only 10 minutes left in reality. Is this soul-piercing? Su Dong thought of this and slightly raised the corner of his mouth, but couldn't help but laugh in the end. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. It lasted for a full 15 minutes before gradually calming down. No wonder Su Dong's emotions are out of control. After all, the journey from Earth to this blue ocean star, and then from blue ocean star to a strange world, is a legendary experience. Is this the golden finger obtained? Free to travel through different worlds. That's really great. However, let me take a look first. Can I use the kung fu brought back from another world? Su Dong flipped over, a carp stood up, jumped up, and then sat cross-legged. Close your eyes and feel your body. Suddenly, there was a warm airflow in the lower abdomen of the dantian area. Su Dong skillfully controls its operation. After getting familiar with it, he opened his eyes and jumped up, directly touching the roof of his rented house. Rent a high-pitched house with a roof of about 8 meters. That is to say, it can jump by oneself, reaching 8 meters and not fully unleashed yet. Expected to be around 10 meters. Not bad, with the blessing of true Qi, my body functions are not much different from those in other worlds. It seems that martial arts cultivated in other worlds can also be brought back. Su Dong's heart was filled with passion. Afterwards, he bent his fingers and bounced towards the glass cup in the distance. Unexpectedly, the glass water cup did not move at all, but instead the water surface shook slightly. This. It's a bit off. Su Dong frowned and then bent his finger again. The water cup still hasn't moved at all. This void danji is a type of martial arts that I have practiced relatively smoothly in a different world. Although it hasn't reached a very deep level, it's still easy to crack the tiles at a distance of 2 meters. But I made a mistake today. Why on earth is this? In order to further identify the cause, Su Dong injected his true energy into his fingers, clasping them together in the shape of a sword finger, and swiped towards the table next to him. Under Su Dong's careful gaze, he discovered that once his true qi left his body, it would instantly transform into a harmless mass of air, becoming completely devoid of killing power. How could this true qi be more like the most primitive qi body? Su Dong pondered for a moment. Is the rule of reality different from that of another world? This can only be used as a forced explanation. It seems that true qi, apart from strengthening the body, has little effect on all external martial arts. What about my poison technique? Su Dong thought of this, and with a flick of his finger, a gecko that was originally lying on the wall was suddenly hit by a light green air mass. The gecko stiffened and fell down. Su Dong took it and carefully observed it. Not bad, it is indeed a trace of the poison technique I released. The power and speed of this attack are not significantly different from those of the other world. Thinking of this, Su Dongcheng breathed a sigh of relief. Although it is not possible to release true qi as hard or soft as in the other world. However, as one cultivates poisonous techniques, it is necessary to take external medicines and toxins when practicing, and practice together. The toxic and killing power of the poisonous true qi released is not much different from that of the other world. It's the nature of this true qi that can cut gold and jade, but it's gone. If that's the case, it seems that my plan needs to be slightly revised. Just then, Su Dong heard the doorbell ringing. When I left, I saw a delivery guy delivering the package. Su Dong's eyes lit up, and this was the express delivery he had ordered last time. He happily signed for it and hurriedly took it into the room to open it. There are actually large clusters of herbs that have been classified in this package. Su Dong picked up the herb and sniffed it. Carefully observed the quality of the herbs. After a while, he nodded in satisfaction. These herbs are of good quality, it seems that there is no problem with my plan. The most crucial thing is still what comes next. Su Dong carefully took out a cloth bag from the express box. There is actually an ice pack inside this bag, which seems to contain something that is afraid of high temperatures. Su Dong carefully opened the packaging and took out a thumb-sized glass bottle from it. And inside the glass bottle, there was actually something in the form of powder. Su Dong opened the bottle and sniffed it. Sure enough, it's quite pure snake venom. That's really great. Now you can start practicing. Originally, Su Dong had joined a martial arts sect in a foreign world. This sect cultivates various poisonous skills. Don't underestimate it, this kind of poison cultivation technique is not easily accessible to ordinary people. I also succeeded in joining by chance. And this kind of poisonous skill is not practiced casually. One of them is to take external medicine, and also to choose the direction of cultivation according to oneself, take highly toxic substances, and continuously practice martial arts. After successful cultivation, one's true qi carries a strong poison, so their combat power will also be strong. Of course, since he has such a great advantage, there will naturally be a disadvantage. Firstly, practicing this kind of poisonous skill requires a lot of resources, such as external medicines to change one's constitution, as well as various highly toxic substances that are cherished. In short, it is very expensive. Secondly, it is necessary to cultivate the techniques of poison Gong, including the formula of pills to assist in cultivation. Both are indispensable, otherwise it is not cultivation, but seeking death directly. Su Dong also dared to choose this martial arts because of his sect experience and his own master's inheritance. Otherwise, he wouldn't have chosen it. The third point is that one should be very cautious in practicing this kind of martial arts, and should not practice frequently every day, otherwise it is easy to get poisoned. But back in the modern Sudong, there are no more troubles. There is no need to search for various external medicines and highly toxic substances on your own. You only need to place an order online, and most of them can be obtained. At this moment it was equivalent to adding countless available cultivation resources to Su Dong. At this point, Su Dong had already turned on the gas stove and used the techniques he had learned in the foreign world to process medicinal herbs and boil them. 2 hours later, as expected, the boiled medicine appeared in front of Su Dong. The light red bowl on the left is an external medicine containing snake venom. The light blue bowl on the right is a self-brewed antidote aimed at the snake venom on the left. Actually, this is just insurance. Because practicing poison skills, it is easy to become too immersed in the practice and become poisoned without realizing it. By the time we know, it is very likely that our bodies have already been damaged, affecting our own cultivation and even leading to death. These are all lessons learned from the blood of our predecessors. Su Dong took a gentle sip. There is a faint bitter taste, and then the true qi in his body begins to flow. At this point, he starts to use his energy while holding on to the yuan. An hour later, Su Dong opened his eyes. Sure enough, my true qi grew a bit higher, and at the same time, the power of poison technique also increased a bit. At this moment, he took another sip of the external medicine and continued to practice. Cycle back and forth until the sky gradually darkens. Su Dong opened his eyes again, and half of the potion on his left side had already been consumed. At the same time, a light green air mass in my hand was floating indefinitely. It's really great, but just after practicing, I caught up with the progress of 1 month's hard work. Sure enough, my idea succeeded. After learning the martial arts in a different world, one can return to reality. Use the resources in reality to cultivate martial arts, and then return to the other world to search for more martial arts. Su Dong is very happy and is about to stand up. Unexpectedly, just stood up. My legs softened and my head began to feel dizzy. Suddenly collapsed to the ground. Newcomers opened books asking for flowers, rewards, collections, and monthly tickets. Chapter 2. Poison Gong is dangerous, practice with caution. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's going on? Su Dong forcefully activates the true qi in his body to suppress dizziness. My consciousness immediately recovered. But it can be clearly felt that the body is out of control. Moreover, what shocked Su Dong even more was that with every movement of true qi, his meridians began to ache faintly. At this moment, Su Dong immediately realized what the reason was. Not good, practicing too much and getting poisoned. Su Dong thought of this and immediately reached out to pick up another bowl of medicine on the table. Fortunately, in order to be safe and prevent this situation, I have prepared the antidote. After taking the antidote, Su Dong sat cross-legged with luck to detoxify. After a long time, Su Dong let out a long mouthful of turbid air. He stood up and took a few slow steps. Not bad poison, it has indeed been detoxified. I'm a bit greedy this time, taking too many boiled potions at once. Although I can catch up with a month's worth of practice in a day, the danger is really great. If poisoning is not detected in a timely manner, the consequences will be even more serious. No wonder when practicing, one's own master would watch from the side. It seems like that's protecting oneself from such behavior. No wonder when entering the sect, one cultivates highly poisonous true qi. The first sentence informs all disciples of the sect that they must proceed step by step and not rashly. Su Dong's loss this time will certainly not happen again, so he will find the appropriate amount on his own. For the next 10 days, Su Dong did not go out again and practiced martial arts every day. Finally, on the last day, Su Dong opened his eyes. Jumping up and down in one's rented house, like a light ape. As the exercise time extended, the figures in the room became faster and faster, as if there were remnants. Not bad, now I have achieved some success in my kung fu. In the words of one's own master. It's just my current self, I can barely take on the job. That's right, after joining my sect, I have to work on my own. It's not the kind of work that ordinary people think, such as escorting or guarding. Our job is very simple, it's to take people's money and help them alleviate disasters, just like an assassin sect. Fortunately, Su Dong, who was possessed by time travel, was the grandson of a wealthy businessman, so he had considerable family wealth and would not be assigned to work in the short term. After all, killing people easily is not something that can be done in just one sentence, especially for people like Su Dong who live in a peaceful world. And an assassin without a murderous mentality is simply their biggest weakness. I don't know how my future master will help me overcome it. However, at least there are no such considerations at the moment. And Su Dong is also rejecting it. After all, traveling on my own is not about killing people. I am attracted by various divine skills and martial arts sentiments. My biggest hobby is various different martial arts skills, as well as living well and enjoying life comfortably. This is my pursuit. However, when Su Dong saw the balance on his bank card, his brow furrowed. I've been practicing martial arts these past few days and buying various herbs. They've been spending a bit hard. I saved 150,000 yuan hard and spent it all in just over 10 days. Of course, the effect is good, comparable to 1 year's cultivation achievements. But the consumption is still too high. No wonder they are all called poor and wealthy. Su Dong thought carefully and said, "We need to make money. After careful consideration, I would like to find a casino to cut leaks or an antique to pick up leaks like in a novel." Su Dong doesn't consider these two options directly, as neither the casino nor the antique have any conditions. However, there is a bullfighting area around me where there are hidden bets. Maybe I can get some there myself. As soon as he thought of it, Su Dong decisively arrived at the bullfighting arena. Sitting on the circular stands, looking down at the two bullfights below, I carefully asked about the odds of both. Su Dong quietly bought it. To ensure victory, one must do some maneuvering. I saw Su Dong pinching a piece of clay. It's as big as soybeans. At the same time, the light green air mass has merged with it. Afterwards, he flicked his finger. This mud ball bounced out directly. Suddenly hit the target selected by Su Dong. Alright, I just infused a little bit of my own poison gas into my mud ball. The amount of self-control can make bullfighting slightly weaker, this way we can manipulate the results as expected by Su Dong. One of the cows easily won. And he also made a considerable profit, winning over 20,000 in one go. In the next 20 or so games, I only made 3 or 4 shots myself. Mainly because he is afraid of being targeted by others, and now Su Dong just has the ability to protect himself. But obviously he was overthinking. Su Dong won, only a few 100,000. For other merchants, it's just a drop in the bucket. And Su Dong stopped when he saw something good and went straight home. Opened the internet to purchase more herbs. After finishing all this, Su Dong lay in bed. Close your eyes and see the golden circle in your mind. It's this thing that takes me on a journey. I still vividly remember the thrill of my first journey. Seeking flowers, seeking rewards, seeking collections, seeking monthly tickets. Chapter 3. At the beginning of the journey, the sword cuts through the gun. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. My head hurts so much, where is this? Su Dong slowly opened his eyes and saw the flames around him lying on the ground. Just as I was about to get up, there was a severe pain in my abdomen. Hiss, hiss, twice, a very rapid inhalation sound. What's going on? It feels like my ribs are broken. At this moment, Su Dong reached out his hand and suddenly felt something was wrong, because his hands were white, tender, and very small. After enduring the excruciating pain and observing for a while, I realized that I had become a child of 12 or 13 years old. And this discovery immediately made me unable to turn my head around, feeling a bit confused. Am I traveling or possessed? By the way, I remember. It's like when I was dreaming, a light spot flickered in my dream, and then I appeared in this world. Am I dreaming? Suddenly sensing a white halo in his brain, it seemed that as long as he entered it, he could return to his original world. It's really a journey. But the beginning of my journey was also too miserable. At least 3 ribs were broken in the chest cavity, and it seems to have injured one's own lungs. As long as you exhale gently, your chest will feel as painful as being cut by a knife, and you will also cough up blood. Can't it be so unlucky? I just wore it and died here. Just as Su Dong was thinking about how to survive, I suddenly realized that I was holding onto something in my left hand. Su Dong endured the pain and opened his hand, seeing a green pill in his hand. Su Dong. Is this poison? Or is it a medicine for treating injuries? Should I eat it or not? But it didn't make Su Dong too conflicted. Because he suddenly realized that his possessed body had become increasingly weak, especially now that the object he saw in his eyes had appeared in a phantom. Damn it! Fight it! If it were poison, I would die in vain. Maybe I could return to my own world, and if I don't fight my body now, I won't be able to live. Since that's the case, why not give it a try? Maybe there's a miracle. Just as Su Dong was about to take action, he suddenly heard a voice. Hey! Isn't this Mr. Su's beloved grandson? Why did he leave it in this place? Shouldn't we take him to the doctor for treatment? Did I kick the broken rib with my broken foot? After hearing these words, Su Dong's original intention of calling for help immediately stopped and he held his breath, focused and pretended to be dead. Fortunately, Su Dong was lying with his back to him just now, so he couldn't see the movements of his hands. I didn't expect that this person did the injury to my body. What have I ever experienced? The stranger behind was muttering to himself again. But since Mr. Su left you here, are you dead? No, I'm not dead yet. My life is really great, but my aura is constantly diminishing. I estimate I'll die completely in 15 minutes. Well, I originally wanted to delay Mr. Su for a while, but now it seems that he has given up on you. I will do it well and send the Buddha to the west. Let's get rid of you. Hey! Hey! Upon hearing these words, Su Dong burst into a cold sweat. Pop pop, pop pop pop. As the footsteps approached, Su Dong could clearly hear the sound of his heart beating. However, due to a broken rib, every beat made him very painful. Am I going to die? I don't want to die, I want to live on. If I die just after crossing, I'm probably the saddest traveler. Just as Su Dong was thinking about how to survive, he suddenly heard a group of messy footsteps. At the same time, the mysterious person approaching him also stopped. This group of people suddenly ran out of the burning house on the left at the corner. There are 12 people wearing black coarse cotton clothes, and from their faces, they seem quite fierce. And they held the Mauser refuter rifle that Su Dong had only seen in the game. They have guns. Are they enemies or friends? And the leader saw Su Dong lying on the ground at a glance. Young master. Upon hearing these words, Su Dong immediately realized that he had saved himself. But Su Dong hasn't moved yet, because there is someone hiding not far behind him. At this moment, there were 3 clapping sounds. Coming from the shadows. Oh, isn't this Su's lackey? I thought you all ran away just now, but I didn't expect you to be so loyal and protect the Lord again. However, is it to save one's own master or to covet the wealth that this master's family has not taken away? Who knows this, right? He. Upon hearing this mocking remark, the servant across from him immediately turned his gun towards an inconspicuous shadow. Who? Get out of here. At this moment, the person slowly walked out, and Su Dong finally saw the mysterious person's face. Under the reflection of the firelight, it can be seen that this is a middle-aged man around 1.7 meters tall, with a white face and no need to worry. However, there is a hint of cruelty in his eyes, a smile on the corner of his mouth. It seems to give people a feeling of smiling tiger. And the leader of these servants asked again. Who are you? And this young man with a white face said with a regretful smile. You said you've all run out, why are you still coming back? Greed is not a good thing. Who the hell is that? Still talking big in front of me, I shot you dead. With these words spoken, Su Dong heard a gunshot. Pa, bang, in Su Dong's imagination, the young man across from him must have been shot dead because he was too close. But then he saw the shocking scene of himself. At the same time as the servant was shooting, the young man across from him suddenly stretched out a white pinnacle under his sleeve and placed it right in front of him. In an instant, a spark erupted from the silver pinnacle. A little divine, Su Dong could see clearly that the white training in the young man's hand was actually a short knife only 50 centimeters long. The blade's surface shimmered with silver. These are not Su Dong's focus. What Su Dong thought of was that this person actually used a knife to split open a gun. I'll wipe it. What kind of world am I traveling through? People can actually split a gun. Seeking flowers, seeking rewards, seeking collection, seeking monthly tickets. Chapter 4. Shekou Escape for Life. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Before Su Dong could react, several guards across from him were clearly startled by the man's move. It's broken, this guy is a practitioner. Don't be afraid, even a practitioner is afraid of a gun. Shoot him with all your guns. After finishing this sentence, I heard the crackling sound of gunfire. At this moment, the middle-aged man in front of him took out a short knife and waved it, as if he had two huge silver wheels in his hand. Su Dong can clearly see that all the bullets are blocked by these two silver wheels. However, it is evident that the power of bullets is still very strong. Even though all the bullets blocked by this middle-aged man, his body is constantly being hit and retreated. However, this situation did not sustain for too long, and the sound of bullets became slightly sparse. Obviously, this is because the handgun bullets in the nursing home were shot out. At this moment, only a few people were still firing. At this moment, the middle-aged man seemed to notice the fighter jet. In a flash of his figure, he crossed a distance of 5 zhang and entered the close quarters of the guard. With a fierce swipe of the short knife in his hand, he saw the heads of the 4 guards thrown up. Their bodies have not yet reacted, only a stream of blood spurts out from the cavity. Others quickly stepped back when they saw this situation. But how could middle-aged people spare them? Chasing towards them, but just then, one of the guards threw a black object out of their hand. Su Dong immediately recognized it as a grenade. And the mysterious middle-aged man only lightly knocked it away with a knife. Obviously, he did not understand the power of this thing. Just as he was flying towards a distance, a sudden explosion directly knocked him out. And the nearest few guards were also injured by hand grenades. But at least 6 guards are still alive. Has this bastard been killed by the explosion? Shouldn't it be? Killed by the explosion. But before they could say their second sentence, suddenly a middle-aged man who had been blown into the room burst out. Originally dressed in an exquisite long shirt, now it has also been bombed to pieces. However, from the bloodstains on his back, it can be seen that although the grenade he just received suffered a loss, it was only a skin injury. Damn you! The middle-aged man shouted in anger and embarrassment. This bastard is not dead yet. Shoot! Shoot! Throw a grenade! The middle-aged man, who was originally planning to charge forward, immediately stopped when he heard the words, "throw grenade," seeming very wary. Su Dong didn't know that when a middle-aged man was hit by a grenade just now, the reason why he was so lightly injured was because he had a life-saving talisman on his body that could be triggered when in danger, forming a layer of air shield. But now he has used it up. If it were to be bombed again, it was very likely to be killed, so he was very afraid. It was precisely during this gap that several guards threw 2 grenades without looking back and escaped. However, this casually thrown grenade definitely cannot threaten middle-aged people. After 2 explosions, the middle-aged man squinted his eyes and looked towards the direction of the guard's escape. He lightly tiptoed and chased after him. At this moment, lying in the distance pretending to be dead, Su Dong finally breathed a long sigh of relief after witnessing the battle, and at the same time put the unknown ammunition in his hand directly into his mouth. This pill melted instantly upon ingestion, and a hot current surged up to the painful area in my chest. Sure enough, it didn't take long. The chest, which was originally in abnormal pain, stopped hurting, and at the same time, Su Dong also stood up. Turn around and run towards the back, hoping to leave this place. Just as he turned 2 corners, he suddenly saw a person wearing glasses and looking like an accountant, rushing towards him while constantly looking back, as if something was chasing him. Su Dong saw that the clothes on his body were obviously consistent with those of the guards just now, so he planned to call him and ask how to get out. But before I could get close to him, I saw the person suddenly stop in place. His eyes froze, and then he slowly looked towards his legs. At the same time, his figure trembled and he fell down. Su Dong stopped, unsure if it was due to the pill or the benefits brought by his travels. He could now see clearly with the help of the surrounding flames that there was a green snake about 1 meter thick and thumb thin on the thigh of the person who fell. At this moment, look at the person's face again, and in an instant, it gradually changes from red to cyan purple. From Su Dong's perspective, it is obvious that this is poisoning. What kind of venomous snake is this? It's so poisonous. From when I saw this person just now to when he was poisoned and died, it didn't take more than 10 seconds, which was around 7.8 seconds. Thinking of this, Su Dong took a deep breath of air conditioning. So I slowly retreated back, intending to bypass the green snake. Unexpectedly, the snake, which was originally cross-legged on its thighs, suddenly spat out a forked message and stretched twice in the air. Then the snake head slowly turned around and locked onto Su Dong. Su Dong, who had originally planned to turn around and run, immediately stopped when he saw this, while Yu Guang looked around. I hope to find a way to escape or something that can help me. The green snake on the opposite side arched its body. Su Dong, who often watches the animal world, understands that this is the action of a snake to launch an attack. Following the principle of starting first, Su Dong turned around and directly picked up a flower pot at his feet. At the same time, the green snake jumped up and down. You should know that he is 12 meters away from Su Dongzu. But obviously, this snake is also unusual. The distance of 12 meters easily crossed over. And Su Dong was also startled, but with quick eyes and quick hands, he opened the flower pot in his hand and aimed it directly at the jumping snake, just like playing a game of catching sandbags when he was a child. Suddenly, the snake crawled into the flower pot. At the same time, Su Dong quickly pulled down the flower pot, causing the snake to be trapped inside and unable to come out. The sample has caught you. However, before Su Dong could be happy, he suddenly heard a sizzling sound, which was obviously the same as the sound of the green snake just now. Take a look up yourself. On a distant eaves, a green snake appeared again. Damn it! Where are there so many snakes? Now it's being targeted by the snake again. Su Dong's brain was spinning rapidly, trying to find a way to survive. Immediately, I felt a burning sensation on my back. I thought of a room burning behind me, and snakes usually don't need their eyes to lock on their prey. Most of them use their own tongues and infrared heat to track prey, so the flames behind them will obviously interfere with it. That may be why the green snake on the roof didn't launch an attack on itself in an instant. But after all, it is a snake from a different world. Perhaps it has other ways to lock in Su Dong, so at this point, it can only go gambling. Seeking flowers, seeking rewards, seeking collections, seeking monthly tickets. Chapter 5. Escape and be rescued in an accident. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 6. Returning to reality with regrets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the real world, Tiannan City, in a rental house in the North District. Ah! Ah! With 2 loud screams, he sat up alone on the bed, sweating profusely. This person is Su Dong. Did I come back or had a nightmare? Just as Su Dong was puzzled, a transparent aperture appeared in front of him. Obviously, this is an unknown thing that takes one through time. Damn it. It seems like it's not a dream. At this moment, Su Dong was not happy, but instead began to think carefully. The aperture in front of me is different from what I saw before. He is very transparent, and the original feeling of shining gold is gone. It seems that energy was consumed during the time of crossing. However, Su Dong still clearly saw that the bottom of the aperture was gradually charging upwards. At this rate, it is estimated that it will be fully charged in 1 or 2 days. It seems that my buddy's golden finger has finally been credited. Afterwards, Su Dong carefully explored the usage of the golden finger, but it proved to be ineffective and unresponsive. It seemed that only after it was fully charged could it be used. At that time, Su Dong woke up and casually picked up the glasses next to him and put them on his eyes. Suddenly, his face became blurry, and he immediately took off his glasses, but after taking them off, he could see very clearly. My myopia is gone. Obviously, this is the benefit of awakening the golden finger. And an old scar on his arm has also disappeared. No wonder people say that crossing time requires golden fingers. This thing just gave me a whitening and care session. Gulu. Gulu. At this moment, Su Dong's stomach rang. Eat breakfast first, and after finishing breakfast, think about what to do next. I can only traverse through this golden finger, and it seems that I can bring back some abilities of the possessed person. I need to plan carefully below. And Su Dong named his golden finger, crossing the light gate. Su Dong went downstairs and headed straight to the small shop where he often eats. There aren't too many people down there, but half of the tables are still full. Su Dong found a good seat to sit in, familiar with the road. Boss. Still the same, 6 buns and a bowl of oil tea. This boss is a middle-aged woman around 40.50 years old, with curly hair permed and a lucky face. At the same time, he is also the landlord of Su Dong, as his surname is Qian. We usually call her Aunt Qian. If it's Xiaoxiu, okay, I'll bring it up for you right away. The landlord looked up and saw that it was Su Dong, and replied. Ming Ming. Here's something for Su Donga to eat. Upon hearing these words, a beautiful woman in her 20s immediately walked out of the kitchen. Wearing a hair clip and a ponytail, it gives off a feeling of a small family's jade. This is Aunt Qian's daughter. Qian Mingming. Speak softly and kindly, and it's easy to laugh when you speak, with a dimple at the corner of your mouth. How to say it? Anyway, Su Dong came here to eat, 80% of it was due to Qian Mingming's reasons. Of course, it's not about chasing her, it's just a love for beauty. After all, having such a beautiful woman makes eating more enjoyable and not expensive. After Qian Mingming put down the food, Su Dong thanked her. At this moment, Aunt Qian seemed to notice something and joked. Xiaoxiu, do you have a girlfriend now? Su Dong, who was eating, was caught off guard by the beating and coughed repeatedly. Cough. Cough. Landlord Auntie, not yet. That's okay. Is it okay for you to look at our house? Can it catch your eye? Now it was Su Dong's turn to doubt. You should know, don't underestimate the landlord's aunt. The 10 households in that building in the entire community are all her assets. In addition, there are 3 sets of shops, including the breakfast stall she is currently operating, which is roughly estimated to have a value of tens of millions. How could she possibly be interested in me, a street-fighting coder? That's the moment of hesitation. Qian Mingming in the kitchen seemed to hear it and made a sound. Mom. The voice was clear and gentle, with a hint of dissatisfaction, and the landlady laughed heartily upon hearing it. Okay, I won't disturb you. You can choose the person you like yourself, okay? Obviously, Su Dong was left aside by them, and upon realizing it. Su Dong is a bit speechless, it seems that he is really not favored. Just as he was lowering his head to cook, suddenly a bowl of exquisite side dishes was placed on the table. Looking up, it turned out to be Qian Mingming, who came over with an apologetic expression. "Sorry, Brother Su. My mother was just joking, please don't take it to heart." Su Dong waved his hand. "It's okay, I also know the landlady who often jokes about others." But there was a hint of disappointment in his tone, but in order to ease the atmosphere, Su Dong spoke again. "But is your dish free?" Qian Mingming nodded happily when he heard that Su Dong was not angry. "This small dish can be considered as compensation for you." "Okay, then go ahead and get busy. I'll eat here." Upon hearing this sentence, Qian Mingming left. Su Dong picked up a small dish and put it in his mouth. It must be said that this dish of small dishes was also made quite delicately. Normally, this dish costs at least 15 yuan. Usually, Su Dong will only order it at the end of the month when it comes to publishing fees. Just halfway through Su Dong's meal, there was suddenly a small commotion outside. Originally, there was a very luxurious sports car parked in front of the breakfast stall. A person walked off the luxury car, over 1.8 meters tall, dressed in a suit and leather shoes, with hair wax on his head, giving the impression of a successful person. With a handsome face, she is definitely the Prince Charming in the hearts of many girls. At this moment, the landlord aunt who walked out of the kitchen glanced at the luxury car and the young man at the door, frowning. Before he could speak, the money behind him ran out directly. The handsome young man saw Qian Mingming run out and walked forward quickly. However, there were people watching around, so both of them appeared very reserved, and Qian Mingming's face was even more flushed. It is obvious that the young man getting off the luxury car is Qian Mingming's lover. The landlord aunt seemed to dislike Qian Mingming's appearance very much and reached out to pull her back. Then I didn't know what to say to her. Due to being too far away, Su Dong didn't hear clearly. Afterwards, the landlord was very angry and walked back to the kitchen where the breakfast stall was located. And his daughter followed closely into the room, staying inside for about 5 minutes. With a smile on his face, Qian Mingming quickly ran out of the small shop and then held hands with the young man to get into the luxury car. At this moment, Su Dong saw in his spare light that the landlord's aunt came out of the kitchen. There was an inexplicable emotion on his face, both feeling lost and regretful, with a hint of worry. At this moment, Su Dong's curiosity erupted and his heart for gossip slowly rose. He was about to ask a question, but when he saw the expression on the landlord's aunt's face, he decisively gave up. At this moment, Su Dong shook his head. Su Dong, Su Dong. You think too much. This doesn't belong to you. Why are you considering so much about the landlord's family? Go back and code the characters properly. After finishing his meal, Su Dong walked out of the small shop and saw a luxury car waiting for a traffic light in the distance. Turn around and walk towards your rented house. Seeking flowers, seeking rewards, seeking collection, seeking monthly tickets. Chapter 7. Finally Awakens. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Dong lay in bed looking at himself, with a transparent halo on his head. Finally, the last bit of energy has been fully charged. Su Dong silently recited time travel in his heart. A 12-year-old child is lying on a bed. Suddenly, his tightly closed eyes moved within his eyelids. Then it opened up. Su Dong had just woken up, his head still a bit confused, but he immediately thought of himself, but he was running for his life. I remember encountering 2 strange people in the end, one of whom reached out and pressed his hand on his shoulder, then fainted. Where is this? Su Dong carefully observed the surroundings, and it was a very simple room with an 8 immortals table in the center. And lying on a bed. Just as Su Dong was about to get out of bed, he suddenly heard a voice outside. You're awake, don't move yet. If you're injured, I'll go call Shekou. A little girl with a towering braid ran away after saying these words. Su Dong felt very strange, so he planned to leave first and take a look, but before he could get up, pain spread all over his body. At this moment, I realized that my whole body was covered in white cloth. Through the scent revealed by these white cloths, one can clearly tell that they have been drugged. It seems that I was lucky enough to be saved by someone. Since we can't leave, let's wait and see what the situation is. And in another lobby. In the middle sat an elderly man with silver hair all over his head, about 60 years old. He suddenly heard the news of Su Dong's awakening. Turning around, he preached to the person sitting on another chair next to him. "Senior brother, it seems that the young master of the Su family has already woken up." And another person picked up a teacup, took a sip, and slowly answered. "What do you plan to do, junior brother leader?" "Originally, I intended to have the young master of the Su family worship under your door. However, considering your seniority, it would be really unsightly for him to worship under your sect. Why don't you let him bow under Mark's command as his closing disciple?" The old man across from him heard the master's words and his squinted eyes emitted a dazzling light. "I have no objection to bowing under Mark's door, but Mark's requirements are very strict, and the leader, the young master of the Su family, is your old friend's grandson. You are willing to let him suffer such a heavy punishment?" The leader's expression remained unchanged upon hearing these words. "I also want him to live a peaceful life, but he has been implicated in our martial arts world. How could he just say, 'Leave,' and leave?" But the leader's junior brother, after bowing to our sect, how could he possibly live a peaceful life? There's nothing he can do. He carries a deep grudge and will definitely seek revenge in the future." After the leader finished speaking, the old man across from him pondered for a while. "Hey. That's all I can do. I just hope the remaining young master of the Su family can persevere." The leader spoke to his senior brother with relief. "Don't worry, senior brother. If he's really not that material, I'll arrange a way out for him. After all, he's my old friend's grandson. But once you enter the martial arts world, how can you say that you can quit? You can't just quit. Alright, that's how the Su family's young master has decided on the matter within the beginner's entrance. Another thing is, have you found any trace of the group of robbers like the Fire Fox?" And the senior brother sitting next to him slowly said. "We have already sent people to inquire, but this group of Fire Foxes has been rampant for over 20 years and has not been completely eradicated. There must be 2 brushes on hand, and we haven't found his exact location yet." The leader nodded after listening. "Well, then we still need to continue searching. As long as we find him, send out our troops. Please rest assured, senior brother. I have already given orders." Then the leader said the third thing. "Why did Fire Fox sneak attack the Su family this time? Do you know the reason?" The old man across from him nodded, indicating that he had checked everything and handed a letter to the leader. The leader quickly read the content of the letter. The expression on the face changed suddenly. "Hey. Su Laokai, you're really unlucky." The leader clasped the letter on the table and then spoke to his senior brother. "Since it was the Su family who rescued the legitimate descendant of the White Deer Valley, which led to the pursuit of the Fire Fox, haven't they done anything?" "Master junior brother, several valley masters of White Deer Valley have issued wanted notices for this matter and have also sent people to investigate the Fire Fox." The leader snorted coldly when he heard these words. It was originally caused by his family's legitimate lineage, and the whole battle seems to be helping others. There's nothing I can do about it. After all, my own family's legitimate lineage was saved by someone, but the benefactor who saved me was actually killed all over my family. If Bai Lugu no longer expresses his feelings, then who will take him seriously in the future? However, I am not optimistic about their actions. In terms of strength, he can kill 10 Fire Foxes, but it is useless if they cannot find their whereabouts. The leader waved his hand and let out a sigh before speaking again. "Seeking flowers, seeking rewards, seeking collection, seeking monthly tickets." Chapter 8. Successfully practicing qi and entering the body through apprenticeship. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Keep your waist straight and don't bend, lift your hands together. Not bad, hold on for another 5 minutes. In a courtyard, a refined middle-aged man wearing a long coat sat on a nearby chair with a ruler in hand. There is a 13-year-old boy in front of him, struggling to squat on horseback. This is Su Dong. This is already 1 month after I joined the sect. In front of me is my teacher, named Mark. When Su Dong first mentioned teaching himself martial arts, he was very happy. But who knew he would just let himself take a horse stance when he came up, and one thrust would take more than 20 minutes. Although it did not dampen Su Dong's enthusiasm for learning martial arts, the physical fatigue is really not something that people can bear. The fatigue caused by the body is not something your will can stop, the body is constantly trembling. But it seems a bit different today. Su Dong felt a warm current while squatting on horseback. Wherever this warm current flows through, the muscles that were originally convulsing and trembling relax and recover. That's why Su Dong insisted on squatting for more than an hour. Meanwhile, Mark, who was sitting beside him, nodded. Not bad, finally triggered that innate energy. Now, we can proceed to the next step of training. Su Dong is sitting cross-legged now, listening to my commands. Embrace Yuan Shui and condense the warm airflow throughout your body at the dantian with your will. Upon hearing his master say this, Su Dong immediately followed suit. Because during my time here, I have also gained knowledge about practicing qi, knowing that this is guiding me in my cultivation. The first step in cultivation is to introduce the innate energy and then refine it into the acquired energy through cultivation techniques, which includes various terms such as true energy, internal power, and so on. And Su Dong, following the already memorized mnemonic and the meridian route, slowly operates his techniques. Some meridians are quite narrow, so I slowly pass through them according to the experience described in the book, while others are spacious and pass through quickly. For a whole hour, I finally ran for a whole Sunday. At the same time, his teacher Mark finally called for a halt, and Su Dong, who still had to continue practicing his skills. Stop it, you have reached the limit of your meridian's endurance now. Continuing to practice will harm yourself. Su Dong opened his eyes. Master, do I already belong to the martial arts world? Strictly speaking, you cannot be considered a member of the martial arts world, human, but it can also be considered as half stepping into the door. Because you have just refined the innate qi into true qi, and you also need to know how to use true qi. Once you learn it, you can be considered a martial artist. That's all for today. I will continue teaching tomorrow, so let's take a break now. After saying these words, my master decisively passed away and couldn't be found. This left Su Dong speechless, but of course he also understood. My master's personality, although appearing weak and scholarly, is extremely eccentric. In short, Su Dong has not yet realized what his personality is. However, it doesn't matter. Now that I have finally learned true qi, I plan to give it a try. Of course, it's only about application. As for practicing martial arts and exercising true qi, I dare not do it myself. After all, this is a fundamental thing and it is easy to make mistakes. So, based on the experience gained from the book, apply true qi to your legs. Gently jump and sweep the ground for 2 meters. Running like the wind, running from a distance of 100 meters for 4 to 5 seconds. Su Dong seems like a newly acquired toy, constantly running. Until the stamina is exhausted. Lying in bed at night, Su Dong closed his eyes and entered the consciousness space, seeing a huge aperture that was not fully charged yet. On the second day, in front of Su Dong, his master unexpectedly brought 2 bottles, each containing different potions. Apprentice, since you have already entered the sect, you should know exactly what our 5 poisons sect started with. I naturally know this, of course it's famous for its highly toxic true qi. That's right, so what I'm going to teach you today is how to infuse your true qi with poison. We call it the 5 Poisons sect, but it's not just about the 5 types of venoms, there are many different ones, but these 5 types of venoms are the most well-known and better for cultivation. Centipedes, venomous snakes, scorpions, spiders, and toads, these 5 different poisons. We use these 5 poisons to practice martial arts. But human energy is limited, and talent is also different. So generally, we need to choose a convenient one to practice. Su Dong nodded seriously, he had a thorough understanding of this aspect. Apprentice, we have already tested your physical condition. For the 5 types of toxins, they are quite friendly. You need to see which true qi you want to major in. Su Dong had already thought in detail about what his biggest advantage was. Of course, it is possible to shuttle between 2 worlds and use resources from different worlds. So I choose to cultivate the most resource-intensive technique myself, as well as the snake venom true qi with the most experience in cultivating within the sect, and the toad true qi as a minor. Master, I have decided to major in snake venom and minor in toad. Upon hearing his apprentice's decision, Mark was not surprised. Because 80% of the people in the sect are majoring in snake venom, but it's a bit surprising that my disciple also needs to minor in toads. It's not that other martial arts are weak, but rather because there are too few cultivation resources, such as centipede true qi. It requires a great deal of effort to extract a little bit of highly toxic substances. Compared to the resources extracted from snakes, there are too few, too many. Unless one is very talented in the cultivation of centipede true qi, they would choose to practice, otherwise it is too difficult. Seeking flowers, tipping, collecting, and monthly tickets. Chapter 9. Difficulty in choosing cultivation techniques. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Since you have chosen, I won't say much more. Come on, what's in front of you is the external medicine I brought you for practicing martial arts. Take a sip later, don't swallow it hastily, feel it slowly, and then refine it according to the method I taught you. I understand, Master. Then Su Dong drank the medicine, but as soon as he took it into his mouth, he regretted it. The taste of the potion was so strong that it made people vomit uncontrollably, it was a sour and astringent sensation. In short, Su Dong couldn't hold back for the first time and vomited directly. I was a bit embarrassed at first, but I glanced at my master. As a result, the master's expression was not surprising, letting Su Dong know that he didn't seem to be the first person to spit out the medicine. Can't the master make the potion taste better? Of course it's possible to have a better taste, but not only do we not know how to do it, but we also intentionally mix it to make it taste bad while retaining its medicinal properties. Why is this? Su Dong was a bit puzzled. Practicing is inherently a painful path. If one cannot even overcome the desire for words and phrases, then what future achievements will there be? Especially for beginners like you, this is even more so. So all the practitioners who have just entered the path of cultivation, we deliberately mix the medicine we drink with strange and peculiar flavors, just to hone your character. You have been practicing since the first sip of medicine you took as soon as you started. This is also the difference between the cultivation experience and heritage of ancient sects and young sections. So don't complain, keep drinking, take a small sip this time, and slowly swallow it. I'll protect you for the first time of refining poison. In his later practice, Su Dong finally realized what difficulty is. At the beginning, I couldn't control my speed well when practicing poison, but as a result, I refined too quickly and instantly became poisoned. If it weren't for one's own master taking timely action and using internal strength to protect the heart meridian, one would have died on the spot. Also, due to negligence, I missed a step while practicing and used the toxic technique, which directly erupted in my body. If it weren't for the antidote, it would also be the result of hemiplegia. Finally, after a month of stumbling and struggling, I perfectly refined the poison in my body. Not bad. Apprentice, you have finally made progress this month. Su Dong breathed a sigh of relief, and now he was scared by this poisonous true qi. The master said with peace of mind, so I can also teach you some other methods. Take this snake spirit skill book first. This is the most suitable cultivation method I have selected based on your physique. I have also obtained the auxiliary cultivation method you want, the Toad Divine Skill. What, just give me the Toad Divine Skill. Isn't this a bit inappropriate? Originally, in the 5 Poisons sect, each cultivation method is divided into 3 different ways. Xian, Ling, and Shen. For example, the poisonous snake Xian Gong is mostly a method of absorbing and exercising true qi by applying external medicine outside the body. And spiritual skills are all practiced through taking internal medicine. And the divine skill is even more unique, as it involves not only external application and internal medication, but also other methods such as incense for cultivation. In short, it varies from person to person. But without exception is the divine skill, which is definitely stronger in cultivation speed than the other 2 techniques, and its power is almost the same. Don't worry, it's mainly the Toad Divine Skill, which is not easy to cultivate, and it was also entrusted to you by an elder. As for why, it can only be said that you are lucky, or your physique is quite suitable, Mark explained sincerely. I see. Su Dong suddenly realized. Actually, it's not like this at all. It turns out that those who practice this Toad Divine Skill in the sect are almost extinct. The elder took 2 jars of good wine to prevent this skill from being extinct and asked Mark to find a successor. It's really because the Toad Divine Skill has side effects. As for why Su Dong didn't know, of course it was his master who took the initiative to delete the description of the side effects of the Toad Divine Skill. As a result, the other disciples, upon hearing that it was a toad, didn't even want to practice, so they had no choice but to turn their attention to their own disciples. Afterwards, Su Dong's life became busy. Every morning, he practiced internal skills, and in the afternoon, his master gave explanations. And also teach some basic lightness skills, body techniques, and boxing techniques. However, I haven't taught any of the martial arts that my master can outsource. Ask him and say that his foundation is not solid, and his true energy is too low to cultivate. Su Dong also listened to advice, so he didn't get too conflicted. A whole month has passed like this, and my time-traveling light gate has finally been fully charged. Su Dong immediately ordered a return. Returning to his rented house, Su Dong felt a bit emotional. This is his 2nd time back. But in just a moment, I adjusted myself. Now is not the time to daydream. Based on my previous plan in a different world, I can now implement it. I don't know if it's possible. Originally, in order to achieve smooth cultivation in the future, Su Dong not only asked his master about cultivation during his practice breaks. And I also personally went to the library of the sect to search for information. So based on the information he obtained, Su Dong formulated a plan. Originally, there were about 50 different external medicine prescriptions on my snake spirit skill. I planned to choose the easiest recipes to make and boil them in the modern world. Relying on the vast resources of the modern world, one can practice without any worries. So according to this plan, when Su Dong doesn't practice martial arts, he spends his time in the sect's pharmacy. And strive to learn the basic knowledge of various medicinal herbs, as well as how to prepare the several prescriptions that one is concerned about. And under the face of his master Mark, he even personally cooked it. This is also because these few prescriptions are simple, otherwise there would be no opportunity for Su Dong to practice. Returning to modern Su Dong, open the computer and directly purchase medicinal herbs online. He had originally planned to personally go to the pharmacy, but he was worried that going there for too long would cause health problems in the other world. After all, I don't know the time ratio between the blue ocean star and the other world. After completing all of this, Su Dong waited for the end of the crossing the light gate charging. Afterwards, he immediately returned to the other world. Next time, you can try practicing on the sea blue star. Seeking flowers, seeking rewards, seeking collections, seeking monthly tickets. Chapter 10. Arrangements in the Real World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's a bit funny to recall the nervousness and desperate attitude I had during my second comeback. After all, after returning to a different world, I don't know if I can practice martial arts in the real world next time. If not, then the function of this golden finger will be greatly reduced. So it was in this state of mind that Su Dong persisted for 6 months before finally finding time. I chose to return. Now Su Dong finally calms down and his plan can continue. So I didn't immediately embark on my 4th journey. Su Dong thought for a moment and said, "Now we can know the time ratio between the alien world and reality. That is to say, I can arrange my plans more flexibly." Su Dong glanced at the deposit in his bank card and felt somewhat helpless. The funds spent on cultivation during this period are really too large. The funds obtained from the last bullfighting arena were not used up for even half a month. It's hard to defeat a hero with just 1 penny. However, this did not stump Su Dong. Because I had already thought of this situation before, I made several different plans. It seems like we can only choose, take a risk once. 2 days later, the midnight storm came. A figure dressed in night clothes suddenly emerged from a big tree. This figure is very careful when it walks on a big tree. That's right, this person is Su Dong. At this moment, he was hanging upside down on a big tree, holding a miniature telescope in his hand, observing towards a villa in the distance. Not bad, this is Count Zhongwu's private villa, right? The repair is truly magnificent. There are actually nobles on this sea blue star. However, at the beginning of the founding of the country, these old aristocratic forces surrendered decisively, so they were not completely eliminated by the current government. And once the country is stable, these aristocrats from the previous era, relying on some of their hidden money, formed a large number of companies and thus formed a monopolistic industry. And during these 100 years, they also extended their tentacles to the new government through various alliances. This has created a rather peculiar scene now. The Count Zhongwu whom I want to deal with now is quite well known. When he was mayor, he embezzled and took bribes, and was eventually reported. As a result, he was only fined a sum of money and released without even going to jail. Publicly claiming to have a disease and not suitable for imprisonment. So let him go on parole for medical treatment. Other netizens are very puzzled, but they can only complain. But what Su Dong is concerned about is another matter. One of them is a very powerful internet god, who somehow obtained evidence of this earl's corruption and bribery. Through continuous calculation, it was found that the fine he had to pay was only equivalent to 1/3 of his embezzlement. But this post was taken down within 2 hours, but Su Dong saw it at the time. So this time Su Dong is here to rob the rich and help the poor. Su Dong has been prepared for a long time for this action. It is to take the opportunity of the rainstorm to act. Su Dong glanced at his watch and it was already 1 o'clock in the morning, ready for action. At that moment, Su Dong jumped down from the tree and directly rushed into the villa under the cover of rainstorm. Although various surveillance devices are also installed inside the villa, they are used to monitor ordinary people, and extraordinary humans like Su Dong are not among them. Using true qi to protect one's body, so water did not drip onto oneself. In a corner outside the villa, Su Dong pressed down on the wall corner with his hand. Then his true energy burst out and began to invade towards the villa. This is a method of using true qi, which can easily explore the structure of the entire villa. Of course, what Su Dong learned can only be considered a little superficial. If one dares to use it in a foreign world, it can be instantly perceived by other cultivators, but it doesn't matter in this sea blue star. In just 5 minutes, Su Dong opened his eyes. As expected, there is actually a safe in this villa. According to the reaction, it appears to be gold nuggets or some valuable metals. Thinking of this, Su Dong quietly jumped onto the roof and lay under the window. These windows all have alarms on them, which cannot be opened under normal circumstances. However, they have ventilation skylights. Normally, ventilation skylights cannot pass through because the supporting structure above is very weak. Once someone steps on it, it will instantly rupture. So Su Dong used his true qi and used his lightness skills to easily enter the interior of the villa through the ventilation skylight. Finally entered the secret room. This corrupt official's protection is so tight, it seems like he has something good. Su Dong went directly to an oil painting and lifted it up. Sure enough, it's not much different from what I explored with true qi. Su Dong saw a metal safe in front of him. He reached out his hands and gently pressed on top of the safe, thrusting his true energy into the lock hole. In just a moment, Su Dong opened his eyes. It's really great, this safe is actually a pure mechanical structure without any electronic control. That's great, I can easily explore the structure inside. If there are electronic circuits, it would be troublesome for me. After all, true qi cannot affect electronic circuits. Afterwards, Su Dong took out a steel wire the size of a hair strand from his hand. With the assistance of true qi, it was bent into a buckle and slowly inserted into the keyhole. The other hand held down the password disk. Slowly rotating, under the induction of true qi, the password is easily obtained. Tie the mechanical structure inside with a buckle and pull it. The safe in front of me was opened. Su Dong sighed and said, unfortunately, the true qi in this blue sea star has become powerless. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so troublesome. Just use the true qi to activate it and it can be opened. Seeking flowers, seeking rewards, seeking collection, seeking monthly tickets.